Why is Grande Americano in Money in the Bank instead of Karrion Kross? Why have Carito, the PS5 and WWE 2K25 just disappeared? I'll call a spade, and if last night's episode of Raw was a spade, well, it would be a plastic one which breaks in the sand. Welcome to Allison Analysis. I'm Ben Allison, Chew at Wrestling Republic, and I'm an autistic wrestling fan who quite frankly never shuts the hell up. And I've analysed last night's episode of Monday Night Raw, and here are my 5 key findings. And usually on this show I am quite positive, but today I'm promising you guys a rant. In at number 5, why is Grande Americano in Money in the Bank instead of Karrion Kross? When this gimmick started, I'd say around 80% of fans were enjoying it. They found it entertaining, whereas 20% were offended by it. Whereas now it feels like online 20% are still offended by it, while 75% are sick of it and just want normal Chad Gable, and 5% are still enjoying it. Meanwhile, it feels like 100% of fans want WWE to push Karrion Kross. So why have they done this? He's doing great work selling tons of merch. I mean, he's doing fantastic promos, fantastic matches, all of that. And WWE still aren't pushing him. And I just can't figure out why. Even if he's not going to win the match, at least putting him in it would make fans happy. Plus, if he loses and fans boo, well, I'm presuming Seth Rollins is going to be the winner, so at least they're booing a heel winning it. That makes sense. Because right now, it really feels like nobody other than Seth Rollins could realistically win this match even. Plus, Chad Gable is already doing something on Saturday as well, when he's going to be competing against El Hijo del Vikingo at Worlds Collide in what is going to be an absolute banger, and a match I'm really excited for. So at least he's doing something. Meanwhile, Kross is doing nothing, and fans want him to do things. I don't understand this. It just feels nonsensical to me. And for that reason, I'm slightly scared they're actually going to do a swerve here and have Grande Americano win Money in the Bank. I mean, he definitely wouldn't cash in successfully, and quite frankly, I'd hate it. But perhaps that is the direction here. Surely not. But at the same time, none of this makes sense, so who knows? Anyway, more of a positive one up next. In at number 4, finally Seth Rollins' faction is getting some real heel heat. Honestly, I wasn't too worried about this. I knew it was going to come. But the narrative online was the faction was not able to get heat, and fans were loving them too much. But sometimes when things aren't working, you've just got to go back to the classics, and that's what they did here. We've seen multiple beatdowns by them in recent weeks, and they continued throughout the show last night, getting some very easy and typical heel heat, and they closed the show standing tall, and the crowd were booing. Finally, the crowd were booing them, and I bet it was music to the ears of Triple H. I really do think whether they're going to add a 4th man or not, it is only going to be a matter of time, and a short matter of time at that, before this faction is dripping in gold. But the fact that they haven't officially said what the name is going to be yet kind of makes me think that they are waiting to introduce a 4th person. So potentially that 4th person could debut on Saturday night to help Seth Rollins win that Money in the Bank ladder match, and I'd be all for that. Like I've said, for me it has to be either Austin Theory or Javon Evans, one of those two. In at number 3, WWE had a plan for Stephanie Vette, and it's worked to perfection. They debuted her on a live event in Mexico and made her feel like a huge deal. They did a photo shoot, they posted it to the WWE website and social medias, and they never do that for a live event. Then, once fans knew who she was, they debuted her on NXT and debuted her as a major deal. And after only a couple of months, she became the North American Women's Champion. And only a couple of months after that, she became a double champion, winning the NXT Women's Championship as well. And the cherry on top of all of that, just in case she didn't feel important enough, she defeated Jordynne Grace to retain that championship. Another key player in that division, another up-and-comer that made it clear that right now Stephanie Vette is the priority for WWE. And then last night, she finally made her debut on Monday Night Raw, winning a Money in the Bank qualifying matches, and the fans were all over her, and honestly, she has to be a top contender, a potential favorite in that match this Saturday. It's actually quite rare in professional wrestling to bring in a wrestler from another company or a free agent and bring them in with a clear plan and for that plan to go as planned. Because in wrestling, crowds can react in different ways, things can go in different directions. But with Stephanie Vette, well, it's kind of just gone all perfectly. And yeah, great plan, great execution, and I'm excited to see what's next. But that's enough about the positives from last night's episode of Monday Night Raw, because there are 2 more negatives and I'm getting ready to go on my rant. But before I do, if you guys could leave a like and subscribe on this channel, that would be massively appreciated. Here at Wrestling Republic, we make several videos per week, plus in addition to that, we have a live daily stream every single day at 8 PM UK time, 3 PM Eastern, 12 PM Pacific, all completely free, and it's always really fun. We read out live comments throughout and all of that, so make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. In at number 2, why have Carito, the PS5 and WWE 2K25 just disappeared? I mean, Carito is under WWE contract for another couple of weeks. Surely they could have just found a way to write him off WWE television. But instead, they just had him disappear into thin air, just having Dirty Dom wear one of his t-shirts, and that's it. No explanation, nothing. It could have been easy. After Liv Morgan's loss, you could have had her storm into the room and say, hey, I've had enough of this. I've had enough of all these games, Finn. We're not taking this as a joke anymore. You know what, Carlito? You're out of here and take your video games with you. Dom, don't follow him. Blah, 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 blah. Simple as that, and it's all solved. I mean, poor Carlito, but at least then there's some explanation. You're not insulting your fans' intelligence. It's little things like this which just really annoy me in wrestling. When wrestling companies just drop storylines and there's just never an explanation as to why. I mean, if you release somebody, at least write them off TV first if they're involved in a storyline. There's no excuse not to. Plus, then that talent can actually say bye to the roster. They have a chance to come back in one last time. And in at number 1, this Raw should have been a really important go-home show, but instead was the definition of filler. Fans are being reactive right now, but this show genuinely sucked, considering it was meant to be a go-home show for one of WWE's Big 5 PLEs. And I know what the comments are going to say. I can predict it already, saying, oh, he's just hating on WWE. He's a WWE hater. He's an AEW mark. Well, what I say to you is, go back and watch the last 12 months of Allison Analysis. I have been positive almost constantly about WWE. I have been loving the product. And in fact, I have been very critical about AEW. But right now, the momentum has started to swing, and I'll call a spade, and if last night's episode of Raw was a spade, well, it would be a plastic one which breaks in the sand. They have a World Heavyweight Championship match next week, a championship which should be the most important thing on the brand, and yet all they had for it all night long was a 1-minute backstage segment? I mean, what? Meanwhile, the Women's World Championship is stuck in a mid-card storyline, and I think Liv is going to be the next contender, despite the fact she has lost multiple matches since returning. But not only that, but excluding the Money in the Bank qualifying matches, the Money in the Bank actual hype around it, it wasn't really built at all. Superstars should have been cutting promos, explaining why this means so much to them. This is literally a life-changing opportunity, and it wasn't really built as such. I mean, the qualifying matches should have been done a week or 2 ago, and I think that is part of the issue here, but even still. And the tag team division is currently more repetitive than one of those soap shenan watches. Honestly, it just makes no sense to me. What has happened to the booking compared to 6 months ago? It's like it's somebody else writing it. It's like they've given up. I can't get my head around it. And the cherry on top, El Grande Americano qualified for Money in the Bank over Karrion Kross. Great one. But before my voice completely goes, let's get into the thoughts which you guys have submitted to us about last night's Raw. At B Davis 0517 says having Grande qualify, Carito randomly gone is insulting the fans' intelligence. So I'm guessing those are two negatives right there. And I mean, yeah, I completely agree. I mean, basically just confirms my thoughts from before. And it's Joe Calesi is saying the low point was Chad Gable got another chance to qualify for Money in the Bank and not Karrion Kross. Again, bang on the money. Adam Pearce keeps saying they're the same guy, so why did he give them both an opportunity? So stupid. At David.S.48 says the men's Money in the Bank lineup had so much potential, but instead we have one winner in Seth and 5 guys to make up the numbers. Is a swerve coming? Well, it all feels just too obvious, David, doesn't it? That's why I'm a little worried about Americano here. But I still think it's going to be Seth. Just Thought Apart says the high point was Chad Gable versus AJ versus Punk. I mean, it was a fun match despite the finish. In fact, the finish was even cool at that. It was just the entire, storyline made no sense, or was rubbish at least. And the low point was there was not enough "We Want Our Truth" chants. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I did kind of expect them to hijack the show a little more than they did. But even still, there was quite a few throughout the night. And last but certainly not least, we got one from Jose99 who says the highs was the Money in the Bank qualifying matches. I mean, the real high point was that women's qualifying match to kick off the show. That was the only thing on the show which I really did enjoy and was great. And the low point was too many promos and video packages. I've been cheering from tons of people and I watched it on demand this morning, so I'm not the best person to actually speak on this. But quite a lot of people are saying that there was more ad breaks than usual last night. Don't know if that's true or not, but clearly to a lot of people it felt like it. Maybe it was just because it was so filler, I don't know. But overall, my rating for last night's episode of Monday Night Raw, well, I'm going to say it belongs in the trash. If this was an average episode, maybe I'd say thumbs down or I don't care. But the fact is, this was a go-home show for a big PLA. It needed to be better, and it wasn't. So, let's chuck it in the trash. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope my rants weren't too off-putting for you guys. But make sure you hit a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a fantastic Tuesday, and I'm going to try and get my voice back. Peace!